Hey everybody, how you doing? You know, very recently, actually toward the start of last week, the Screen Actors Guild Union, SAG-AFTRA, announced that the movie producers had walked away from the table. Just didn't want to talk anymore and just broke off negotiations after days and hours of talks. They just said, "Hey, this is not something." They didn't even say it, as I understand it. Well, they did say it. They just said they don't want to talk anymore. Now they didn't, and there's no indication given when they're going to come back to the table at all. Uh, and it's really a
Missed
sad,
calls means lost
excuse
business.
me, and
Specialty answering service.
it's really a
800.
sad development that really points to a bad economic future if we don't straighten this out right now. And so now the digital commerce industry has to come to the rescue of the actors. There needs to be advocacy beyond just the actors to get motion picture producers back to the table regarding artificial intelligence. Now, some of you are going to be thinking, wait a minute, you're talking to me as a potential producer of artificial intelligence products to intervene in a strike against my own interests. And I'm going to present to you why it's actually for you and with attention to your own interests to get involved in the matter of making absolutely certain the actors are protected from the misuse of artificial intelligence. Let me give you an example, a very real example. If you take a look at the photo of the gentleman that forms the thumbnail for this video blog that I'm producing, that's Benedict Cumberbatch. And if you don't know who Doctor Strange is in the Marvel movies, then you don't know Benedict Cumberbatch. If you don't know any of the other works that he's done that have been extremely acclaimed and his rise as an actor, then you don't know Benedict Cumberbatch. But Benedict Cumberbatch is a amazing A-list actor who could very well be, because of his rise, the victim of what I'm about to present to you. Now, look, Benedict Cumberbatch is knighted. I don't know if you knew that or not. And if you don't know what it means to be knighted, I think, well, it's a good idea. It's like, for example, if you are familiar with the Presidential Medal of Freedom that the President of the United States gives to celebrities, like Barack Obama gave to a number of people, and George Bush did, and Donald Trump did, and Joe Biden as well. Everybody from John Fogerty, for example, to the fantastic Gladys Knight. I can go on and on and on. That's our form of knighting someone. That's our way of saying, okay, you've done a fantastic job, and we are going to make absolutely certain that you are never forgotten, that you are made immortal essentially by being given this Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is broadcast forever. Okay, well, in the UK they have something even more complex, and it's an honorarium. Now we all know it as being knighted. All right, that's what we say that. For example, Daniel Craig is a Sir. All right, Sir Daniel Craig, or Ian McKellen, who played in the X-Men series, Sir Ian, right? Or Patrick Stewart, we call him Sir Pat. Even his Twitter account is Sir Pat, right? These are knighted people. Now, what does that have to do with artificial intelligence? Well, let me explain. Suppose that you happen to see an image, or someone sees an image of that person doing something that you know and I know and they know is untoward, that you know and I know and they know would cost them their knighthood, right? Except here's the catch, they didn't actually do it. All right. They didn't actually do it. It was artificial intelligence image that was produced. Okay. But we don't know that. It's an image that's out there. It looks very much like that person. It's awful, and it's captured our attention, and it's captured the attention of the world, and certainly it captured the attention of the UK, and they're not happy about it. So what could happen is that any one of the people that I mentioned could lose their knighthood. All right. The only way they couldn't is if they were obviously passed on, and therefore the image was a complete fake because the person wasn't alive to be anywhere near in a position or a situation to produce the kind of image that was seen. Okay. So let's say the person is alive. What defense do they have? Nothing. And then further, what's to stop a really angry motion picture studio? Maybe they're trying to reduce the value of their client or their partner actor, and rather than just simply say, hey, we don't have enough money anymore, or we don't like something that you said, or we think that you have the upper hand over us, instead of doing that, they use fake imagery to reduce the value of the knighted person. This is a very real possibility. Okay. It is a very real possibility. The only time it would be made not a possibility, hear me out, is if the producers would come to the table and agree to guidelines like the ones that are before them, where they cannot produce AI images of actors without the actor's consent. And you can't just say, hey, this is something that we've done. They can't put it out there, all right, without the actor's consent. That's what we're talking about here. That the actor has control of the actor's image. This is a very serious situation. And the movie producers not coming to the table spells either one of two things. Either they know that this is possible and they don't mind having the position of looking like they could be criminals. All right. I'm saying that that's what this looks like. That's what this could look like. Okay. That's a very real possibility if they're not going to do anything about it. You can't just go on the trust mode like, oh, they'll never do that. They're not those kind of people. Really? Okay. I mean, how do you know? How does anyone know? All right. And no one knows under what circumstances a movie producer company would take those. But those circumstances are out there. And I presented some that are very real. Maybe you want to cut the person's contract. Maybe you want to, but you don't want to say it because you're not that kind of person. You're not an honest broker. There are a lot of dishonest brokers out there. So what leaves open the chance to happen is what I just presented to you. This is extremely real. All right. And in the text, I lay out that the digital media or the digital commerce industry also makes money off celebrity. And right now, the way you make money is there are a lot of photographers who go great lengths to be at red carpet events or to capture the actor or actress out in public somewhere, right? But just suppose a studio can produce an artificial intelligence image that only they have control over, which means that person is not out on the street. That person is not on the red carpet. That person could be told by the studio, hey, don't make any appearances. But then they can have this AI out there doing so that they can, for what purpose? So they can put ads behind it and make their own money for that purpose, which means it takes money out of your pocket and mine as one who's covered a number of red carpet events. All right. There's another example. You can't just allow someone to create an alternative reality and say, oh, that's okay. It's not okay. We have to have the appropriate guardrails and laws to curb the kind of behavior and to identify what's criminal and what's not. Right now, we haven't branded anything as criminal. And yet there are actions out there that once they're done, when they're done, are criminal. It's wrong to make someone look like they did something that in point of fact they never did. That's wrong. So why would you, when I'm talking to producers now, want to be the people who look like they want that done? Ultimately, I believe Congress and the President of the United States need to weigh in on this, and they need to do so right now. All right, but the digital commerce industry needs to take a stand for a set of rules that don't get it into trouble. It is us. Okay, this is something that we really need to put our collective fist down and say, all right, we're not going to allow this kind of situation to develop. It's not in our best interest. It's not in the best interest of the actor. It's not in the best interest of the country or countries with respect to the matter of the cultivation of cultural history. You want an authentic cultural history to be maintained. But with artificial intelligence, there is the danger that that will not happen. And as long as movie producers continue their behavior, that danger is extremely real. Okay? It is extremely real. So movie producers need to step up to the plate, but they need to be made to step up to the plate. If they're concerned about their bottom line, go to the government and ask for a minimum standard of income for artificial intelligence image producers and digital media producers and entertainment producers. Okay? Ask for a reformation of what we can now call the meetings, incentives, conventions, and entertainment industry. MICE. So that includes artificial intelligence. Maybe it's MICE A. All right. So, whatever the case, we need to take action. We can't take action if the producers are not at the table. All right. We cannot do it. Let me explain to you what's in the text regarding forfeiture of or withdrawal of an honor, like being knighted. What the UK government says, and this is a government issue, says an honor can be withdrawn for a variety of reasons, including criminal conviction and bringing the honor system into disrepute. Now, think about into disrepute. That points to any action that would be considered against the standards and practices of those who have the honor of being knighted. All right. And that's where artificial intelligence and its misuse it should come into clear relief for you. Okay. And it goes on, the forfeiture committee can consider specific cases where a recipient has been accused of a crime after their death with a view. Now, think about that. Suppose what they're accused of was faked by artificial intelligence. All right. With a view to issuing a statement that confirms action would have been taken had that individual been convicted. A decision to forfeit an honor can be based on events that predate the award. For example, a past criminal conviction, even if spent, or a conduct that occurs after the award is made. The forfeiture committee can consider cases put to it when the holder of an honor has brought the honor system into disrepute. It will automatically consider cases where an individual has been found guilty by the courts of a criminal offense and sentenced to a term, has been censured or struck off by the relevant regulatory authority or public body for an action or failures to act which are directly relevant to the granting of the honor, have been found guilty by the courts of a criminal offense covered by the Sexual Offences Act in the UK of 2003 in England and Wales, and the Act of Order of 2008 in Northern Ireland, or offenses, the same legal act with respect to Scotland. All right, or it has been found to have committed an act of that kind, which is listed in the X above following a trial of the facts, right? Okay. And it goes on to say that this committee is not an investigative body, which means if they see something, they're not going to go back and say, oh, well, we have to make absolutely certain that this was an artificial intelligence thing. So it's quite likely they're not going to care. Someone else would have to do that work. But who gets harmed? The actor gets involved, gets harmed. That's who. All right. So this is a serious issue, folks. And again, the digital commerce industry cannot be seen as advancing this kind of untoward behavior. The time is now to step in and make the movie producers come to the table and talk to the actors and get this matter done so that we can return to the proper creation of movies as we like them. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, bookmark zenny report.com. Thank you very much.